What's going on, everybody? Welcome to the OpieRadio podcast. We're going to do something just a little different today. It's called A Taste. Simply put, we're finding out that there are a lot of people just getting turned on to the podcast, and we know they're not going to go back and listen to 131 episodes. Hell nah. So what we're going to do is try to make it a little easier for those people to catch up. But also, if you're a faithful listener of the podcast, it's a good look back at some of the funny, interesting things we have done on this podcast so far. So we're going to start off today by going back to the first 4 episodes of the podcast. We started over a year ago at Carl's Creepy Cabin. Now, you got to remember, when I was pulling up to Carl's Creepy Cabin, I was in a much different place in my life. I just lost a massive radio show, and I was just chilling out on the beach for like 8, 9, 10 months. I was starting from nothing. And what made this really interesting, Carl was also starting from nothing. He had a big-time restaurant that was so successful that he gave up in a divorce. He lost his house. He lost his marriage. And that's why he ended up in this creepy cabin. So I pull up, and I was pretty excited that we were starting from scratch. And I'll never forget, the cabin was in the middle of the woods, in the middle of New Jersey, in a town I never heard of. There are wild animals all over the place. I pulled down this dirt road, neighbors peeking out their windows going, "Who the hell is that?" They were ready to call the authorities, or they were ready to get their shotguns. The creepy cabin, I walk in, there's no TV, there's no couch. There's one fold-out table with 2 folding chairs and 1 beer in the middle of the table with 2 red cups. And I said to myself, perfect! I loved it. So we're going to start off the first episode of A Taste with me at Carl's Creepy Cabin, starting up this fine podcast for all you guys. We're going to learn about how Carl got into cooking and how his brother is way different than him. We also talk about the black fetish. Oh, yeah. Yabba dabba do now. And then we'll end it at the creepy cabin with us talking about Carl's stupid birdhouse. I hope you enjoy.
It's pretty, isn't it?
Well, I wouldn't describe it as pretty.
Tread lightly, Opie.
I would describe it as very quaint.
I'll take quaint.
Very
don't look down like that.
Very,
I hate the way you're looking down. That's not a nice.
Is that a linoleum floor?
Those are custom tiles from the 60s.
They're custom tiles.
Yes, those are hand cut to be put there. That's when plastic first started.
Yeah,
that's artisanal.
And is your whole cabin kind of sliding into the woods? Because I noticed there's a dramatic decline from the front door to your bedroom.
Because of my weight problem, I am very gravity sensitive, and I do walk faster towards the bedroom than I do towards the kitchen.
Yeah, you're walking downhill in this part.
I don't think you should point things out like that. I think it's mean to be at someone's home.
I enjoy it.
I know.
I'm enjoying it so far. I do like the quaintness of it.
It is very quaint.
But it seems like it's a cabin right out of one of those teenager slasher movies.
Oh, everything.
Right.
Oh, yes. Right. Oh, yes. One of my city friends came here, and he has no filter.
Yeah.
And he comes and he goes, "This is the worst effing place. I want to leave right now." He goes, "There's so many ghosts in there, I can't even fit."
Really?
Yeah, he felt the ghost energy in here.
No,
Yes.
I believe in that shit.
He believes there's ghosts in here.
Really?
He thinks someone was killed in here.
No, but I wouldn't be surprised.
I mean,
that I wouldn't be surprised because that's a plexiglass window. That window has been replaced.
someone jumped out of there with a knife in their back.
Of course. And the landlord's like, I'll just put a plexiglass window up for the next guy.
Time to put it back on Zillow.
Right. I'll tell you that at night, this cabin has to have a much different feel.
Yeah.
During the day, it's all bright and cheery, and you look out this window, you can see a deer or a black bear at any moment. And then at night, man, every noise has got to freak you out. It has to.
It's a 200-foot walk from the car to the cabin.
And it's pitch dark, right?
It's a different type of dark. It's like you're blind dark.
Oh.
and things just make noise out there. And you're like, what is that? And I swear, I am a nervous wreck. I shake to open the door. I get my phone lying there. I drop the phone. The other day, I dropped my phone outside. I left it outside. I was so scared. I left my phone outside and just went to sleep.
See, I'm breaking you down. This is what I'm good at, breaking you down. You're like, no, Ope, you're going to love this place. It's so cool. You're scared of darkness. I hate it here.
This is the worst decision I ever made in my life. The woods is bullshit.
I hate it here.
Do you mind if I open this beer up?
No, let's do that. So what kind of beer you got today?
This is Founders CBS, Michigan guys.
Yeah.
Founders Brewery. They're unbelievable. So this is an imperial stout.
Yeah.
So it's nice and heavy. With chocolate and coffee.
I don't like stouts.
I'll drink the whole thing. I'm so nervous up here. I'll drink this whole thing.
Look at me. I don't like it.
I'm kind of upset that I got to share it.
You only have one beer.
Well, it's a giant beer.
Yeah.
And I was hoping you'd say no, but now you want to drink them. I don't know.
No, I'll check it out for real.
All right, let's try.
I'm not sure if I actually like stouts. I don't know why. Do you like stouts?
This is one of the best beers in the world.
And what makes a beer a stout?
Oh, I don't know.
You really don't know?
Yeah, it's a style. It's a really cool style.
Yeah.
Lloyd.
What fraternity did you get these cups from?
I got these at the dollar store.
Okay.
They're red plastic cups.
They're wonderful. There should be a fraternity logo on the side of this cup.
What the hell's wrong with you? You just came up here and just shit on everything that I have.
I can't shit on the fact you got plastic cups.
These are biodegradable in a couple hundred years.
All right.
Huh? Try that.
Whoa.
Yeah.
That is smooth for real, man.
So here's the problem with starting to get talking about beers.
Yeah.
People that are beer nerds are the same as like Trekkies or Star Wars people, or, they're so nerdy into this that I tread lightly.
Right.
And I try to stay away from the beer craft craze because the people are out of their minds. They're out of their minds. Jehovah Witness crazy.
Right.
So I know a couple good beers that I like, but usually I don't drink light beers. Like we were talking the other day, right?
Yeah.
I like 70s style lagers and pilsners.
Like Schlitz?
Like Schlitz.
Old Milwaukee.
Old Milwaukee.
PBRs.
Right, because I drink bourbon.
Yeah.
And I just use beer as a lubricating agent so that I can get drunk and fall asleep out here in the wilderness.
And forget about your problems.
Oh, man, they don't go away anymore. There's too many. There is too many. My life is awful right now. My grandfather got me into cooking. When I was 11 years old, about to turn 12, my grandfather calls me. And my grandfather was very wise, very short with words. And he said to me, Carl, come over here. I said, yeah, what's up, Grandpa? He says, I keep hearing your grandmother and your mother tell you that you're special. You're not special. He says, you see your brother over there? Now that kid's special. He goes,
could you explain your brother to the people that haven't heard yet?
He basically can levitate if he wanted to. That's how, he's a cardiothoracic surgeon.
He operates on
babies.
But he operates on babies that are still in the womb.
Yeah, no, that's his wife. She's an OBGYN trauma surgeon.
They married each other?
It's like two computers married each other.
Oh my God, why would you do that?
Let me tell you something. You're at a family party and they have jokes with each other.
Yeah.
And it's just, they fall so hard they break the table.
Right.
Like my brother look at Katie and be like, oh, and that's what the scalpel said. And I'm like, boo, boo. I mean, they're the most unfunny two human beings I've ever seen.
I honestly think if you're highly intelligent like your brother, that you should marry like a Perkins waitress.
Yeah.
Right?
Well, I did that, and that doesn't work out either.
Opie Radio.
So what does he do exactly? So his wife is the one that operates on babies that are still in the womb.
He deals with people that have less than 10% to live, with massive congenital heart defects. So he's basically the Grim Reaper.
Wait, does he operate on kids or everybody?
Kids. I think mostly kids.
You have to be, how do I say this carefully? He has to be autistic in a way, or he has to be like slightly dead inside.
You could see the spectrum coming out of his eyes.
I mean, I'm not trying to be rude, but if your whole job is where you're dealing with parents that have a really sick kid and they are coming to you knowing they only have a 10% chance.
Yeah, he's the Grim Reaper. That's what I call him.
But how do you go home?
Like nothing, like a switch.
It doesn't bother him?
He'll come home, play with the kids, laugh, and he'll talk to you about it.
Right.
Like I'm talking about, drinking a beer.
I don't know how you do
Completely
that.
clinical. Doesn't even faze him.
So it doesn't faze him if he's saving the kid.
Doesn't faze him one way or another.
And it doesn't faze him if the kid doesn't make it.
The kid doesn't make it.
I can't wrap my head around that.
Me either.
And it leads.
He has the same attitude as a serial killer.
Really?
I think it's the same thing, just on another side.
It's funny you should say that because my daughter went on a play date recently.
With a doctor? How old is she?
My daughter's 5.
Gotcha.
And it was me and the dad. So he doesn't work. He does nothing. I go, what do you do? He goes, I do nothing. He collects records. He collects all the Beatles imports. Oh, you need the Japanese press because of blah, 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 blah.
You think that's cool?
It was cool listening to records with the guy.
Oh my God, Opie. Give me 1 second. Where were you? Would he just bring a record player on a dolly?
I went to his house.
Okay.
With and our kids played together, and we were listening to records, and he was explaining stuff, and in a way, it was kind of interesting. But
what do you do with your hands and eyes, like with records?
What do you mean?
Like, do you stare at each other while the record's playing? Do you look at other stuff? Do you look at your phone?
Well, it was one of those snowy days in New York City. So I was looking out the window.
You guys were looking out the window listening to records?
Make him believe I cared about the Japanese import of the Beatles Abbey Road.
You hated it. Don't lie to me. You hated being there.
You know what? You're right. You're right.
That guy sucks.
And then it didn't help that my little daughter almost broke her ankle on an exercise bike.
Of course, you guys are staring at each other's eyes listening at imported records.
But my daughter is now on an exercise bike from the 70s. You know, those old school. Where
Is everything this guy have old?
Yeah. And, you usually see these exercise bikes in like old people's houses that they maybe exercised 20 years prior and now it's like a coat rack.
Right.
So my daughter's on it. And I'm like, I don't know if she should be on that, man. But then this guy's daughter was on. I'm like, all right, if his daughter's on it, then I guess my daughter could do. And then my daughter goes, Daddy, can we stay? I'm having so much fun here. And it's a nice snowy day in New York. It's like almost like a blizzard outside. They ordered pizza. It's kind of nice as far as a play date goes, right? All of a sudden now I'm listening.
Sound like two gay parents.
I know. Now I'm listening to another Beatles song from some Australian import. I don't know.
But is it the same song?
No, we're switching records. And
no, but I'm saying, like, does the import song sound the same as the regular?
To me, it does.
This guy sucks.
Because my ears are dead from doing so many years of radio. So
and your soul too. What are you doing in there?
I mean, he has a turntable, and he's trying to explain why the turntable's better than the CDs. And I'm like, man, you're talking to the wrong person because I can't hear anymore.
I would shoot a flare up and have you extracted out of that party.
Anyway, so then my daughter's like, can we stay? 2 minutes later, Carl, she's screaming bloody murder. She fell off the bike and got her foot stuck. And I looked at this ankle and we're like, oh my, I thought she broke her leg. Long story short, she was fine in the end, but it was bad, really bad.
But so good, because you got to leave, right? Injured kid, but no more of this. Oh,
I'm grabbing her. Thank you. Trying to get a cab, and by the time I got the cab and got her in the back seat, I realized we don't have to go to the hospital. But I actually went to the doctor the next day. But now it's becoming boring. It wasn't broken. So anyway, this guy, he's a stay-at-home dad, and basically says, "Yeah, I don't do nothing. My wife's a doctor." And I go, well, what do you do? And he explained the record collection. And he goes, I categorize my records. That's what I do every day. So he gets these records.
Don't go there anymore.
He gets these records.
Keep your kids away from this guy.
He listens to it, and then he decides he rates it, the quality of the record.
He rates it.
Yeah, all this stuff. He's part of a Facebook club and all that. He's
a bunch of other mavericks.
But I really did like the guy. So his wife, getting back to your brother, his wife operates on breast cancer.
Right.
And she does a lot of these surgeries. I mean, a lot, like 20 a week.
Yeah, that's good.
So
money.
She's seen a lot of death too.
Yeah.
And I mean, and a lot of success. Maybe not as bad as your brother, where it's 10%, but she's probably, she's trying to save people's lives as well. So I was trying to talk to this guy about movies and TV shows. He goes, oh, in this house, because of what my wife does, when she comes home, we don't watch anything heavy. So he goes, I'm into the Gilmore Girls.
Don't ever go there. I hate this story. But I don't hate this story because it's a great story. I'm glad your kid's fine.
But it made sense to me because he's kind of frustrated because I was talking about.
I'm frustrated. I wasn't even there.
I'm talking about like Walking Dead and all this, and he's like, "Yeah, we're not allowed to watch any of that because when she comes home, she wants to turn off and watch just mindless stuff." So he goes, "I actually am really into the Gilmore Girls," and he's like, "I'm probably the only heterosexual male that's into the Gilmore Girls."
There would be, if I was there, a throat punch coming from across the couch. He would be in a full fight with me.
I swear I like the guy though.
Why?
I don't know. I like him.
He's a creep.
So it goes back to your brother, who's like just an intellect,
right?
And his job is pretty freaking brutal. So now back to you.
Yes.
All right. So your grandfather goes to you. You're not like your brother, who's like just highly intelligent.
Yeah.
And is going to be this
And he's
incredible
always a nerd.
doctor.
Always a nerd.
Yeah.
And he was like Morrissey when he was a little kid, like sexless.
Really?
He didn't like girls.
Did he like boys though?
No, he didn't like anything.
So how
he
did
would
he
study all day like a weirdo?
How did he get into the putty as
I think his wife bumped into his crotch and he's like, "Will you marry me?"
OpieRadio.
We're going to talk about my black fetish on a future episode.
What do you mean black? Have you ever dated a black girl?
Not dated, but
So then there's nothing to talk about. It's a whole different experience.
I lassoed one and brought her home.
And then what happened? She didn't like your Beatles records?
Well, oh boy, here
What'd
we
you
go.
do, Opie?
I try to,
You did something in front of her?
I try to go down.
Downtown, right? No good?
Rough.
Hot garbage? How old were you?
Rough.
Did she run home?
I was old.
Oh, you gotta be careful with that.
No, it was,
But you're not a quitter, man. You gotta follow it through. Just don't do it again, but you gotta finish it.
It was the waft. It was the odor.
You couldn't put your t-shirt over your nose?
It was rough.
You could have ninja'd it out?
It was rough.
You gotta ninja it out. You gotta suck it through.
Very sexy, but it took me out of the game. But anyway.
That takes you out. Nothing takes me out of the game.
That doesn't take you out of the
Not
game?
even death will take me out of the game. I'm
Really?
Cuban. There's not once we engage, it's full gone.
Oh my God.
You have to get a stick, like when a pit bull locks on someone, and pull me off with a stick.
Smells are rough with me.
It doesn't bother me. I'm a chef. I can smell anything.
Wait, can you hold this? Because I know this is going to end up being another 20 minutes. So
Yeah.
I'm gonna walk 5 feet to Carl's bathroom in the cabin.
It's at least 8 feet. Don't be an ass.
It's 8 feet? Okay. But I want to keep this rolling. So
Yeah, go ahead.
Just talk about whatever you want and promote your stuff. Promote your stuff. Your restaurant.
I'm not gonna talk about anything. We'll cut here.
No, we're not cutting.
No cutting.
No.
What if I want to have a cigarette?
Oh, you want to have a cigarette?
Yeah, let's go have a cigarette.
All right, that's what we're going to do. I'm going to go to the bathroom.
We'll take a smoke break.
But they're not going to know that it was a smoke break because it's just going to be like da right back at it. So, all right, I'm at Carl's cabin in the middle of the woods in New Jersey. I'm going to go to the bathroom. Carl's going to have a cigarette, and
Why
we're
don't
going
you
to
go to
continue.
the bathroom outside?
Huh?
You don't like going to the bathroom outside?
I can?
It's one of my favorite things to do here.
Yeah.
Peeing in nature is.
You're not trying to look at my peen, are you?
I mean, why don't you go outside right here by the window? Come on, Kaza. Do the right thing.
It's not gay if there's not a house 10 miles from here.
Do Uncle Carl a favor and go take a pee-pee by the window.
Looks like our relationship's going to the next level.
You can't get out of here. I love sneaking up on things. It's one of my since I was a little kid. When I was a little kid, you know what I did for a little while? Where my parents thought I was crazy? I would dig ditches and cover them in leaves and just watch people fall into them.
I love you.
So like all the other kids are playing tag, I'm building a hole. And then cover it and then just watch like Brian Langpoot from down the street just get crushed in this little ditch.
How dumb is he?
Oh, I was a little smarter than him, and it would make my week.
Of
when I would see this little dum-dum with his ice cream running across the yard and whoop, he was gone.
Of course.
I loved it.
Right.
I loved it. My parents, they found it so unsettling.
Yeah.
That I'd be in like what I thought the woods, which was this little plot of land between one house and another.
Right.
And I would track the neighbor.
That's hilarious.
I would track the neighbor for a week until I figured out where he would walk to make the shortcut. I'd build a ditch there.
OpieRadio.
How many?
I put up numbers.
Good numbers, right?
Good numbers. Solid numbers.
West Coast, you put up.
West Coast. I belong on the West Coast.
I put up numbers on the West Coast. I'm like exotic. I'm like a fat unicorn. One good thing about the gay community, especially out in the West Coast, is as a heterosexual, having a large gay community lets you say things that you can't say, like on the East Coast. Like when I'm on the West Coast, I can be like in a room full of girls. I'm like, I'm sad. And everyone's like, oh, that's all right. You know what I mean? Like, if I'm in New York and I'm like, I'm sad, they're like, go to a doctor. Right. What's wrong with you?
You can show your feminine side.
Oh, yeah. Like the whole time I'm like,
that's hilarious.
Like, oh, my God, I love meringue. You know what I mean? Oh, my God, cupcakes. And it's totally cool.
Because as men... Right. My wife talk about this a lot. Right. As men, we're not really allowed to show our feminine. And every male has a feminine side.
Oh my God!
And
when I'm
F you if you disagree with that.
Yes, I'm in California crying, eating ice cream, watching rom-coms, and
they're just getting wet. Oh my God! Because women want you to show a bit of a feminine, a bit of emotion.
I cry the whole time I'm in California. I'm just a basket case.
But I would move to San Francisco tomorrow if that was an East Coast city. That place is, it's crazy liberal though. Let's not underplay this. But my roommate was taking me to all sorts of killer restaurants where the homeless, like we're talking expensive restaurants, homeless laying out all over this. You're literally stepping over homeless people to have an amazing meal, and the whole city just accepts that whole vibe.
Well, the weirdest thing that happened to me in San Francisco was something that's only happened to me once and happened to me in San Francisco. I was coming out of one of my favorite restaurants and I'm walking down the street, had a couple beers in me, but wasn't paying attention. I stepped in human poop.
Wow.
That, with everything I've gone through in my life, that bothered me. Yeah. You know, it was just, I couldn't get clean enough, Opie. It was something that...
I get it.
It stopped me dead in my tracks. The smell. I knew immediately from the slip of it, from the moisture content of it, from everything. What just happened.
You know right away because you could feel the greasiness of it.
Exactly. It's the whole
because dog poo would be like.
It's got a different texture.
You step in dog poo, you stop immediately. Human poo, you're going to slide.
Oh, my God. It is so slippery, and you can't get it off. Mm-hmm. Opie, I left my shoe right
there. No, I've thrown sneakers away after...
I got into a cab with no sneakers, and I didn't think of any other logical thing to do.
Yeah.
There was no way I wanted this shoe on me for another second.
Right.
Well, I'm glad you came here.
Yeah,
I really am.
And no one's doing it this way.
See the birdhouse that I built? So I built this birdhouse outside.
Yeah.
So I could see the birds. Look how dumb I am. I didn't put a little piece of wood by the hole.
Yeah, they can't stand.
So the birds fly into it. They hate it, and then they leave.
You need something they could stand on, and then they could go into the little hole. Yeah. And you need a little feeder tray.
Right, birdhouse expert. I didn't know any of this. Birdhouse whisper.
I got one at my beach house. And I'm like, ooh, another sparrow. Sparrow. And then you learn the black crows are just nasty.
Black crows are people.
They're nasty.
They're reincarnated people.
And yeah, I believe that. Yeah. I don't know if I believe that. I just said that. But it keeps all the other birds away. The blue jays, and the orioles.
Black crows are monsters.
And the cardinals. They're just animals.
Yeah.
Stupid birds. Hope you're enjoying a look back at the earlier episodes of the OpieRadio podcast. It's pretty much for the newer listener of the podcast, although I'm sure some of you faithful podcast listeners are enjoying the look back. We're going to continue. We go to Gephardt's for the second half of this. Gephardt's is a great beer joint on the Upper West Side on 72nd Street. I hope if you ever make it to New York City that you stop by and say hi to Matt and the gang. I think you'll really, really enjoy his joint. On this section... Carl's in California being a TV star, so I met up with Vic Henley and Sherrod Small. This is a great episode, and this is just a few of the highlights. You might want to go back and listen to the entire episode, episode 4. But here, I give you a little taste. We talk about Black McDonald's. We talk about Randy Johnson, Hank Aaron, Kobe Bryant being dicks, and the time I was a dick to The Rock. I asked Vic Henley why he didn't want to have kids. We talk about Vic Henley making out with a superstar in first class on a flight. Came out of nowhere. We also talk about Jamaica and the weed. And for the entire episode, there was this table of Dutch people just babbling and babbling and babbling. And finally, we invited one of the guys over, and he was just a lot of fun to talk about. And then we're going to wrap up with ashtrays on planes. That's right, everybody. Sounds a little hack, but it's not. All right, back to A Taste on the Opie Radio podcast.
There's a high school in this area that's very black.
Which Martin Luther King?
Yeah, it's about 4 blocks that way.
Oh, the
right?
name of it is Martin Luther King.
Martin Luther King. Okay.
Yeah, it's the blackest name of a black school.
And then
Famous guy.
there's a McDonald's. When it
comes out?
When you're as white as me, walking past that McDonald's is scary.
Colin Quinn used to have a joke about getting on the subway and a black high school get on. He's like, hip hop high school, just get on the subway. That's what that McDonald's turned into.
There's a McDonald's right around the corner.
Right.
We walk by it a lot, and around 3 o'clock, we know to avoid it. Anyone in this area knows
my favorite one.
It looked like the first season of 106 in Park.
I call it Black Donald's. That's my favorite McDonald's in the city. It's Black Donald's.
If you want
Ronnie Don.
if you want to see
Got a
it,
pick in the clown wig.
if you want to see a show though, you go there around 3 o'clock. They have 3 or 4 security
That's
guards
hilarious.
at that McDonald's all the time.
Okay,
There's
yeah.
fights every day.
Yeah.
And then, man, someone's got to explain the N-word thing because that word isn't.
They throw it around. But if you
You
see
got to
them-
explain that crap to me, Sherrod, because I honestly don't get it how serious that word truly is. When you hear it 100 times within 2 minutes with the youth,
But you know what's
Doesn't
nice?
it
What it-
doesn't mean anything. That takes it away.
It loses all
It
its
does.
power,
It
right?
does.
That's
but
the point.
Thank you.
It does, but sometimes I see young kids, different races, black, white, all using it together.
Same, right.
And I go like this. Good for them.
No,
These good
We
for
are
these
coming
young.
together.
They actually get what it is.
Donald Trump is not dividing us.
Yes. The
I
kids
like
go like
that.
this, man.
You know
it ain't
what?
nothing to them.
That's a good take. I like
That's a
that.
better-
I like that.
Just playing devil's advocate. It's still bringing young kids together, and they don't see the big deal of it because they don't use it like their parents use
Know
it.
what's sad about
Most
that
times.
though? Because we're all older. Now let's go around the table. We all use the word and watch
Nigga, go.
watch how uncomfortable it gets.
Vic
It's a
might
little
get it
different.
in. What? You two motherfuckers definitely ain't saying it.
I'll just start naming prior
school,
albums.
a block
I'll ride the fence and just name
you'll
prior
play it
albums.
safe, right?
I'll play the safety.
Or that one Nas
safety
album.
net, exactly. Y'all right? It's totally nice. Randy Johnson buddied up with Foxworthy when he was a rookie with the Expos.
Right.
And they shared spring training with the Braves down in West Palm Beach.
Right.
And we do the club every year. And so when the only thing they were advertising him at the time was Randy Johnson, the tallest rookie that will ever play, and they didn't know he was going to be the big unit. They were playing the total tall card.
Right.
Was it.
Right,
And
like
so-
a circus freak.
He was so. You know the Brooklyn Diner on.
Yeah.
50.
Midtown.
Where is that?
57th
7th
and
and
6th.
7th.
That's
Yeah.
happened.
Thank you,
So
Ben.
I would get a booth near the window. One day, his head just went bopping by the window.
Kurt Schilling.
No,
Randy
Randy
Johnson.
Johnson.
Okay.
You don't see anyone's
No,
head.
but they
Those booths are just high enough you can't really see the
Oh,
people.
yeah, I forgot, right.
And all of a sudden, this head just went right by the window.
Hang on a
And
second.
I was hanging out with Jim Norton, and we ran out to get his picture, and he was a dick.
He
would not. he would not take a picture.
Yeah. That's
He
why
said
I was
no?
weird. That,
He
he's
said
notoriously-
How did
No.
that feel to you and Little Nori?
I laughed my ass off. I thought it was hilarious. Jim, not so much. He
I
was a
remember
little mad
Kobe
at
did that to me one time.
Kobe Bryant.
Yeah, shut me down on a pick. This was when he's like a rookie. Wow. I was like this.
Hank
You'll
Aaron-
never make it.
Hank Aaron waved me off. At same spring training when Hank Aaron waved me off.
He waved you off?
I caught him behind. I saw him. He was moving from one field to another field. You know, they have different, all squads playing.
Yes.
And so I catch him coming out of the bathroom, and I know he's got to circle around to go over here. And if I go around the other side of the building, I'm going to walk out, and it'll just be me and him walking along there together.
Right.
And I had a thing. I wanted him to sign an autograph. I had a ball, and I'm like,
Right.
"Hey, Hammer," and he, "Not signing." So he just yelled, "Not signing," and kept walking.
My fingers hurt.
Yeah, no kidding.
That had to hurt.
I was disappointed.
It scored me when
I
Kobe
was
pushed me
bummed.
away. It
I was
scored me.
bummed.
I
was
pulled
really
this what you did with Kobe with The Rock.
What happened?
The Rock, Dwayne Johnson.
And to this day, he's still cool, and he absolutely remembers me from the old days. But at NEW, he came in.
Hey, no,
He came in as a young, WWF at the time superstar.
Right. Yeah.
And we're having a good time, man. We knew all the wrestlers back then because we
Right.
were in tight with the McMahon family. And we invited one of our super fans to come in that ran a wrestling fucking website or message board.
Right.
And all of a sudden we go, "Hey, man, blank, I don't want to say his name. Hey, do you have a question for The Rock?"
Rock turned and went, "You're blah blah from the message board." And long story short, he basically goes, "I'll never do your show again if you're associated with that guy. He's a racist. He says racist stuff on that message board."
I'm with The Rock on this.
And me and Anthony were like, hamina, because he's becoming a big star at that point. So,
Did y'all throw that dude out?
huh?
You heard me, Opie.
No, he walked out. We didn't even know what the story was.
Oh, he ended
at that
the interview?
point.
Oh, he
Yes.
walked out.
So I
The
pulled.
Rock walked out.
I pulled what you did with Kobe. I said, "You know what? You'll never be as big." You think I was wrong?
Boy, were we wrong.
Wrong on that one.
Maybe that's what
I was
people
all
need to say to
cocky.
us.
We missed the boat on that shit.
I was all cocky
we
because
missed the boat
because
on
you know
that.
the radio show was on fire back then, right?
And you chose that racist dude?
No, the Rock walked out on us without allowing us to even explain.
I wish Patrice or somebody was in the room.
We
The
didn't
Rock
know.
was ahead of the game on this one, and they didn't
was
know.
ahead of the game.
Yeah, they didn't know.
We truly didn't know. So I'm like, you'll never be as big as.
I wonder what
So
he-
let's fast forward 20 years. I just set up my own podcast
We're
equipment
sitting here,
in a beer
right,
joint.
We're in the velvet rope.
Right. And The Rock is the highest paid actor in Hollywood.
Easily.
Oh, man.
Why didn't you ever want to have kids, Vic Henley?
Because the Henley line needs to stop with me. It needs to be
No.
over. No more Henley.
Why do you say that?
Because it's just you don't know my family.
Why didn't want a 5-year-old with gray hair?
I don't want anything related. Right. I don't need a baby Jay Leno. Thank you. It's been an hour. You finally came up with something.
Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. Tip the wait.
Into the high note.
Right. Don't let the sea air rust your hips.
But you're good with Nikki's kids.
Oh, I love Nikki's kids. They're
So
amazing.
you do like kids.
I love children. I just didn't want any of my own.
Yes.
The Henley family needed to end with me. And
That's such the youngest sibling thing to say.
I am.
You're the youngest, just like me. And I go like this, why should it be more after
There
me?
shouldn't be anybody.
But I already spilled into somebody's vagina.
My niece is, well, you got a good one.
I got a good
You
one.
got lucky.
I got
You
blessed.
got lucky.
Lucky's for the
You
wicked.
did get lucky.
I got blessed.
For the wicked. Lucky's for the wicked.
I'm telling you,
That's right.
Lucky's
You
for the
going to
wicked.
old Church of Christ Baptist, Pentecostal.
It's for the wicked.
we got to pull a story out of Vic.
About
What?
How he wants the family name to end with him.
Why do you want to...
Yeah,
Yeah,
give
just
me a little something.
I've seen
on
his
that.
the
brothers, though. I
Henleys
met his
ain't good.
brothers. Tell him about all his friendships with all the Atlanta Braves that I met. They came to at least a dozen of my shows.
Really?
Tim
The
Hudson
Henley
from Atlanta,
brothers.
from the Atlanta
Oh,
Braves.
the Atlanta Braves.
All
Okay.
the Braves, and they all know Terry from hunting with him.
Hunting with him. Tell him about the moose head in the toilet.
So he calls.
What?
Yes. So he
You have no
calls me.
idea.
So he calls me.
These
he
my
goes-
white kind of white people.
He goes. I got Tim Hudson, Craig Kimbrell, who's now closing
Yes.
for the Red Sox. A whole bunch of them down at the cellar
We
watching
drank.
him. And he goes. They asked him something about. He said something about me, and Tim Hudson went to Auburn, so something about Terry came up. So he sends me a text, and he goes. I go. Ask him about the deer head in the toilet.
And they lost. It's like, how the fuck do you know that? Henley's, nigga.
So they were all deer hunting somewhere down in Boogerville, Alabama, a million years ago. And they're in some cabin. It's a cabin. It's really not nice. It's a cabin.
Right.
And so most of the people are peeing in the yard and walking around and whatever. It's just sleeping bag kind of cot situation. So my brother killed this huge deer that had this giant rack. So when they all went to bed, he cut the deer's head off and put it in the toilet. So when he knew someone in the middle of the night would go walking in there and flip the toilet lid up, and there'd just be a fucking deer head in there. And it was Tim Hudson.
Really?
Yes.
And Terry was
All-star.
hiding outside the window with his phone. He sat outside for 3 hours waiting on the first idiot that was going to walk in there and get scared by the dead deer head in the toilet.
Wow.
And it was only a little inside Alabama hunting story from,
man.
amongst 9 people until he
laughed.
goes, hey, what do you know about this? I go, ask him about this.
And they
And
was
they
like, how the
just-
fuck did you know this?
And they just lost it?
Yes.
That's
It's
a
like, how
great
you know Terry?
story.
How does this work?
I'm like, he is everywhere. True. 2 days ago, going through the airport, I saw the rare black man bad toupee.
Oh. You know, I've seen a bunch of them
No,
just
the
growing
good
up.
ones you don't
you
see.
can see
The good
the
ones you
line,
don't see. The
the
bad
colors,
ones you see in a
The
second.
color's completely off.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, he looked
I
like
remember when white people didn't know that Steve Harvey had a toupee.
Oh, forever. Had no
It
idea.
looked like a black fucking sponge on his head.
Right. That's what this dude was the other day. That's what I thought. And no one knew. No one knew.
Because people don't usually look at black people and think it's a toupee.
Right.
No.
No, it's true.
I don't think black guys can get the plugs like white guys can. So it's more of
Right,
like
it's
a
a different
whole
thing.
like
Right.
helmet
Exactly.
or
Right.
shower cap
Ask
Right.
LeBron.
that has some afro
Yeah.
on it.
Opie Radio.
I told you about making out with Chili from TLC.
I mean, nigga, you know I made a...
Really?
Well, you know,
Yes. I know
What?
I know where he's going.
I got video with him.
Wait, you
I
started
got video.
No.
No, Chili's my peoples. I love Chili.
Rozonda.
but you made out with her.
In first class. It's just on an overnight flight, just for a second.
He did tell me. You told me that story before.
Yeah, and I did, and then I got a little too cocky, and she told me to go back to my fucking seat.
Just give you a taste.
Totally, I was so excited. I thought I had the whole Grammy weekend planned.
Wait, so
The whole weekend.
you're just in the middle of America.
I'd gotten upgraded. We were taking an overnight red eye from
She's
Atlanta.
the best part. I did Good Morning America with her.
She's a
good people.
sweetheart,
The
yeah,
best.
she's
Wait, I gotta hear this.
And so, then her seat was open, and she had this juice from this juice place that's down in the hood. It's like only a black people Atlanta thing. And so she's got this gallon jug, and she's pouring everybody juice. And I think she's giving out drinks, but she doesn't drink.
Right,
And she's just pouring out, And so she goes, hey, do you want some of this? I'm in the seat. I'm in a row behind them. And I go, only if it's from blah, 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 blah. I say the name of the place, and then she looks at me like, oh, my God. She's so,
Right.
So I jump up and move next to her, and now we're taking off, and we're talking. Everybody's turning their lights out. They're all going to sleep.
Oh!
That's going on.
How do you blow that?
I got 2 vodkas. I'm pouring vodkas into the peach juice mixture she's giving me, and I'm drinking. So we're sitting there chatting. She goes, "You're funny, Alabama." And I just tell her I'm from Alabama. She just keeps calling me Alabama. We just get closer and closer. About an hour into the flight, I just go for it, and she totally kisses me back. And then like, we're making out for a couple of seconds. Then I go, so where y'all staying? And she goes, I'm staying at the Four Seasons. And I go, I live 2 blocks from there.
Too forward, Vic.
Right?
Did he get to dry hump her leg at
No,
least?
nothing. That was it.
She was like, I just
Yes,
changed my
go back
reservations.
1 row behind me, get back.
But that was when she heard that. That was
I
when
said
she
something
said,
like, hey, and she's like, I don't know what you think's going on here, but you need to get your ass back to your seat.
wow.
And all I remember doing is I'm like, you kiss me back. I'm like, you kiss me back. You kiss me back. I didn't make that up. You kiss me back. She's like, okay, I might have kissed you back, but
But I'm not
that
fucking
didn't
you.
mean I'm fucking you at the Four Seasons. It's the Grammys, dickhead.
She's good people, so.
She's lovely.
Lovely.
and the funny thing is that like every citizen in Jamaica could grow 6 plants. That's the
Really?
limit. So they said pretty much everyone has 6 plants grown in their backyard.
And I'm such an
also-
animal.
That's a Dutch thing too.
Yeah.
Really?
No, that's absolutely.
Let's
There's
ask the Dutch.
No.
They don't know. Yeah, this you can try 6
Aren't you
months.
allowed to grow a certain amount of weed when you're growing up in Holland?
Yeah,
How
give him that mic
Is it a
back.
numbered?
Hold on. Talk
That's a
on-
law, right? We're not making.
Well,
You're allowed.
I'm
to-
live from.
You're allowed.
What's your name?
You're on there. What's your name?
My name is Christian. That's
Christian, nice to
Christian.
meet you.
Christian.
From
Amsterdam.
Amsterdam. What
Yes.
street? What straat?
I live on the houseboat on the ijsbaanpad.
near the Leisterplein. Near the
I
Leisterplein.
love
Yes,
that.
of
We know
course.
your country.
You love my country.
I love it.
But
I'm
what
from
you
there.
want to know about weed?
So.
How many plants can you?
We are allowed to grow 3 plants
How many?
legally.
3?
3.
Okay.
But in case there are 2 dying, you are allowed to raise 5. Only 3 of them.
But 3 of them you can harvest.
Sorry?
Can you harvest the whole 5, or you gotta only
no,
harvest
3,
3?
only-
No,
3.
you are officially.
But you know what happens.
let's-
There we go.
officially.
There we go. That's
we
what I'm
are
talking
allowed
about.
to harvest 3.
Well, you ain't gonna waste 2 plants if they grow, though, right?
My neighbors do it fanatically, by the way.
Really?
Yeah, they do it. Yeah.
Nice.
Now, so growing up there, by the time you're in high school, aren't you kind of over all this? It's not even.
No, when it's free available, you're not so interested anymore.
Right.
You know?
So
I agree.
right.
It's the same way because
No.
the only guys you see in Amsterdam which are totally stoned are the foreigners.
Yeah, the tourists.
Italian, the Americans,
Yeah.
the English, they go
Yeah.
over the top. once in a while, one of them jumps in the canal and never comes
never
up
circles.
again.
That's okay.
Yes.
You don't see them again.
That's natural selection.
Right, that's right. That's culling the herd.
Well, I know a professor in criminology.
Okay.
He is researching the drug abuse
Okay.
all over the world. Amsterdam happens to be the only city which is diminishing.
Yes, because it's all very
All the
readily available.
capitals over the world.
I agree.
Exactly.
I
I'm
agree.
very curious what happens now in California when they free
Right.
cannabis and these things.
It's not going to be a big deal anymore.
Yeah,
It's already becoming like that.
because it's getting out of the criminal circuit.
Yes.
And it's becoming, legal.
When it's not criminal, it takes some of the fun out of it. A little bit.
Well,
little bit. It's like
we find
prostitution.
something else, Maybe,
Yeah, we do.
maybe you buy a gun or something.
Have you been to, the...
I'm in renewable energy. I'm a CEO.
Yeah.
Now, wait, I
make
believe
good
Holland
money.
is energy independent.
No, Holland,
See?
when you look at Europe, there's a list. And besides Malta is on the bottom, then second on the bottom is Holland.
Oh, so you're not. I'm
Yeah,
wrong.
no, it's really devastating how our policy is working out.
With natural resources?
And with natural resources, when you look at Germany, it's the top one in the world.
But why? Why is it
I
different?
thought you guys were
Because
doing it right.
no, we're not doing it right. On the contrary, even.
See, no,
I was on the-
dumbass American.
What?
Well, American is worse, of course. When you look at the world,
yeah, we are. Yeah.
when you look at in my
but
field, first is Germany, second is China.
Yeah, yeah,
Well,
yeah.
Trump's bringing back the coal industry here in America.
But
so
Trump is an idiot. Sorry to say it.
Say it again with your accent. Say it again. Say
Trump
it.
is an idiot. It's unbelievable
Sounds like his wife.
such a moron is it. You know this joke? The Russians said we were the first one to put a dog in space,
Yeah.
and now we put a monkey in the White House.
Wow, that's pretty good.
you're gonna let him get away with that?
That's pretty good stuff. And it's a little embarrassing.
It's funny.
I'm letting it slide. I'm letting
I
it
like
go.
that. No, guys, have a nice one.
I finally learned why they have ashtrays on planes in 2018.
Okay.
Anyone want to guess?
Why?
Because they know people are going to sneak cigarettes. So they're like, fuck, we should have ashtrays just in case.
Because they'll start a fire and you don't have to ash on the ground.
That's why they still have ashtrays on planes.
That's
How great
hilarious.
is that?
Okay.
So I want to make sure they're using them.
I read it in Newsweek, so I know it's true. We got to mention the lady that got sucked the fuck out of that plane.
Oh, God.
I was talking to a pilot. He goes, the odds of that happening, you can't even
Well,
put
she
a number
did.
on it.
She
What
did
happened?
Get sucked out.
Halfway out.
Enough to kill her.
They were pulling her
Enough
back
to
in.
kill her, right.
Yes.
Right. Enough to kill
He
her.
says it's so rare that a piece of the engine would fly off to begin with. Then it has to hit one of the windows, which it did, making a hole and then sucking her out. He goes, you don't even understand the odds of that fucking
God
happening."
really wanted her.
No kidding. That's what I'm
God was like,
thinking.
where is she? Final destination. She thinks she got away from that last crash?
He's like, I'll figure it out.
That's a final destination lie.
My girlfriend.
How old was she, by the way?
Well, this is where. Thank you. My girlfriend called me, and her only point, and she felt awful because she's a really sweet person, but she read the account of the person that was sitting either in front of or behind it.
Right.
Yeah.
And this person said, all I know is I looked up and heard a crazy crashing sound, and then some old lady
Old
was
lady.
getting sucked out. My girl looks it up and goes, the lady was like 45 years old, which is my girlfriend's age. She's
What?
like, she was just mad that the person said old lady.
Right.
The whole
Now I'm
point-
furious.
The whole point was some 20-something-year-old went, well, all I know is I looked up and some old lady was getting sucked out. And then my girlfriend goes, old lady? She's my age.
Yeah, 45 is not an old lady.
Right. She was just she wasn't concerned at all about the tragedy. It was just like, what fucking 26-year-old said old lady?
45 is old.
What do you mean, 42 or whatever?
Whatever.
That
Yeah,
is
yeah.
brutal.
That
You
is
know,
great.
but she did almost get yes.
Let me ask you this. So they had an electronics show in, I think, Japan, and they were talking about drones. And now they have passenger drones. Would you get on a... Ben,
Yes.
you
I've
know
seen
this
him. No,
shit.
I've
Yes.
seen him.
Yes.
I mean, not in
Seen
real
him.
life, but I've seen him.
So
I've seen him on.
the technology is
Yeah.
such, just like Uber, You could
That's cause of the future, by the way.
You could call yourself a fucking drone, get in it. There's no one obviously
operating.
No,
I'll do it.
You would do it in a second?
I trust an unmanned drone more than I trust a fucking New York City cab driver.
From Ghana.
All right, how about a plane without a pilot? Because they're getting close to that, too.
Yes, I would do it. Because
Dude,
these pilots, let me tell you something.
So you
Opie.
walk on the plane, you look to the left, and there's
Nothing.
nobody in there.
Fine.
That's not fucking with your
Fine.
head?
You know what? Missiles get delivered that way, and they're accurate as shit. These pilots are not getting sleep. They got to work 38 hours in a row. That's when that fucking plane crashed upstate New York. One of my friend's mothers was on that shit.
No
Going to
kidding.
Buffalo, yes. My girlfriend's fucking friend's mother was a stewardess, a flight attendant on that flight.
That was
And all those-
That
and
was
the-
pilot error, right?
It was pilot
they
error
were-
because the pilots had no sleep.
Right.
They had to do fucking 48 hours straight. One was a female pilot, one's a male pilot, and they had to do so many flights in a row, they killed those people.
And the pilots don't get any.
I'd rather a computer, nigga. Computers don't get tired.
But
GPS is always GPS.
look, you're making great points, but psychologically, that's not fucking with your head when you
No.
walk on a plane without a pilot.
When I look in there, I see a face and I'm like this. Nigga, I'm trying to look at how much they want to live. That scares me too.
You know what they should do? Because most people, I don't think, would actually go on a plane without a pilot. They should just put some dummy in there and make him believe he's the pilot.
Yes, like on an airplane
Yeah.
with the inflatable
Oh, the blow-up.
motherfucker.
With Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. That's what they should do, though.
That was the
Smoking a
greatest
cigarette,
movie.
smoking a cigarette.
Yes.
Minimum-
You got to blow him up in his
No,
crotch.
you blew him up. No.